Hey friends, it is me. I am trying something new this week. You have mostly only seen my face on video when I'm sharing a song, which I hope if you've watched some of them you've been enjoying. Forgive the rusty recording, but hey, it's the best that one can do right now. I am just about on the halfway point of this adventure here in Scotland, and many of my student friends will probably be aware of the same thing, stateside and on the UK. And as such, when I first got here, there were several things I kind of immediately noticed about the UK that are different from the US. And also, if you've read some of my interviews with fellow travelers, that series, one of my questions I'll often ask is what differences have they noticed between these two places? And you hear several themes come up. The people are more laid back, the landscape is pretty nice, and that stuff is all true. But there are a few things that I noted down that I wanted to convey as well. You know, get my own fair share in. But just give you a bit of a idea of how the weeks tend to go. It took about 2 weeks to kind of settle into a routine. The first two were pretty like mega transition, more than I expected really. You may have caught on to that. But having to get everything and kind of establish some good rhythms throughout the week, that also was helpful to have done, so that once week 3 and 4 rolled around, I noticed that they started to go by faster, and I started to be more and more surprised when suddenly, oh my word, it's Friday, or Saturday in this case, and realized, gosh, I really want to use this time well. So, with that in mind, I've had 4 classes that I've been taking, four classes that I've been taking on wastewater treatment and architectural acoustics, and then basic geotechnical engineering, so soil, or to the plain man, dirt, and what's the other one? Soil, acoustics, water, and it's coming to me, sustainable and intelligent buildings, basically just anything related to how do we use energy efficiently and design buildings so that they maximize their purpose, all the while having the lowest amount of impact on the environment we could possibly have. Yada yada. Interesting stuff. But anyway, that has left me, however, in a new situation where I have no classes on either Wednesday or Friday, which is unheard of at UNH. I have classes at least 5 times a week, 5 days a week that is, and loads of homework besides. Here, everything is self-motivated. Now, if you're watching this and you're from this area, you're like, well, no kidding, don't they all do it this way? But no. So, on one hand, it's always a bit of a, whoa, I have time to rest and like read a book I enjoy, but at the same time, I have yet to see how well the practices I've implemented for myself will go in the long run. Hopefully, things are in a good shape so far. Got one assignment I need to finish by next week, but we'll get there. So, a few differences that I've noticed between the US and the UK, in no particular order. And please, if these are incorrect in any way or need clarification, leave a comment, let me know how I've erred, and I will amend my ways. Number 1, the shopping trolleys or the shopping carts, the wheels on the trolleys are all free rotating here. I noticed this when I went to Tesco, one of the supermarkets here, and instead of having the typical, like the 2 front wheels are free and the 2 back ones are like fixed, so if you have to like turn a tight corner, you have to like hike up the back side and like kind of, you know, maneuver it around the corner and then like land it back down and like keep going ahead. And here, it's like I could be like a shopping cart ninja and like turn a corner and like pass the thing behind my back and like spin it around and like keep going right down the aisle. And you just feel absolutely like a boss if you're, you know, if it's all new to you. The peanut butter, number 2, is of a lighter color brown, and I have no idea why, but it is. Still good, still tastes like peanut butter, but it's less brown. It's a little more of a light tan here. There you go. Asphalt, or as they call it, the tarmac here, has less coarse aggregate in it, I think, than it does in the States. Now, if you're a civil engineer in the UK watching this and you know exactly what it's made of, drop me a line and let me know. But as far as I can tell, when I first stepped off the airplane and I arrived on campus, I looked at the ground and noticed, man, this looks different. So what can I say? Engineering materials ruined me in the fall, but hopefully that's a good sign. I think it means I'm learning. Number 3, or 4 that is, people over here tend to be a bit more sarcastic in their sense of humor. Now that's generally speaking. You'll meet some very literal UK people and some very sarcastic people in the Northeast US is particularly what I'm talking about. In the Midwest, forget it. They're all just as sarcastic, but it's of a slightly different tack. However, of all my efforts to try to fit in, I had a conversation with a local who just made the comment, Tim, you Americans think that sarcasm is just saying something that's not true, but that's not sarcasm. And there's a third piece to it that I just can't teach you. Like, you just have to learn it. And I was like, oh, for goodness sake, just knock me down and don't help me back up again. Like, how then do I be sarcastic? But so far, they're the one case that's occurred with. The rest of the people don't notice, and I think I've enjoyed it so far. And they are very, very funny, so I enjoy being able to enjoy a bit more irony with folks here. The next one, don't expect a hug from someone, the average Brit, unless you really, really know them. Now, again, there are exceptions. There are some very touchy-feely British people, though I've kind of yet to meet them. And there are some very non-physical people in New England. But nonetheless, I wouldn't recommend going in for a hug with someone you just met at the bus stop. That would be a little bit awkward. Another one is that the cashiers are friendly here. This is to corroborate what my fellow colleagues said. I think I was going through the market again yesterday, and I was just kind of in a rush, just getting all my bags together, which, by the way, is another one, that bagging your own groceries is the norm over here. It raised some eyebrows when I said that my first job was a grocery bagger. I don't know, you buy some really good cloth bags and you get on with life. But I think when I was going through this, I didn't say anything initially. I sort of, a brief hello to the cashier, and I went around bagging stuff, and he kind of said something, and I raised my, sorry, what did you say? And he said, hello. And I just kind of smiled in spite of myself and said hello back, and we just had a brief conversation as I'm like, throwing my flour and sugar into the bag and all that stuff. But I do enjoy that, because those moments especially can be a little bit awkward when you're just kind of doing your thing and they're just waiting to, for you to pay and give you your receipt and whatever. But here, it's generally speaking, it's okay. Everything, architecturally speaking, is older here than it is back in the States. Now, we tend, as Americans, to talk about the 1700s almost like they're ancient history. Like, man, this musket ball was made back in 1720, like that was when the caveman lived or something like that. But you walk by buildings here that are they're automatically at least a century older than that. I've been to a couple really cool cathedrals, and I hope to be to several more in the city. But I very much enjoy the original, I don't know what you call it, it's not earthiness, but there's just something about the story that's kind of bound up in the rocks that make up a lot of the buildings here. I think that's really cool. And last but not least, Mary Berry, for those of you who follow the Great British Bake Off / baking show, she really is a rock star over here. Like, for goodness sake, she has her own food line. Like, I see her face in the stores, and you're like, wow, I guess she does get around a little bit. But that's pretty cool, because it must be really good then, because, if she can judge other bakers, then, who's to say it's, but whatever. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope I will have a chance to speak with some of you soon, and if not, happy March, happy Lent, build up to Easter, just a couple more months, and we will tie this thing down. Cheers.